What a fitting way to start our 12th season. Stripped down, literally, back from the grave. We're starting with our Halloween episode during a pandemic. So much swirling through my mind. I'm your host, Curtis Anderson. We are kicking off our unprecedented 12th season of our little community music show. The show that brings the venue to you in the comfort of your own living room. Starting season 12 with another famous Halloween episode. We are in the middle of the woods, and helping us kick off such an historic event, ladies and gentlemen, Aurora Bella.
Full of tears, like the last cherry in the autumn. Winter months are drawing near, and the leaves begin to fall down. Swirling, swirling, swirling wind wraps around me and tries to bend my swirling, swirling, swirling mind. Snow so bright it makes me blind, and I see and the ground opens up beneath my feet, and a hand reaches out to me to lead me down. The sun goes to sleep, and so do we. When the land goes to sleep, then we will freeze now. And the ground opens up beneath my feet, and a man steps out to me to lead me down underground. Pathways under frost, the land has shriveled up here. The springtime journey has its cost. The setting sun lights up my last fear. Swirling, swirling, swirling pass around me, tries to find my swirling, swirling, swirling mind. Snow so bright, it makes me blind, and I see, and the ground opens up beneath my feet, and a hand reaches out to me to lead me down. So do we. When the land goes to sleep, then we will freeze now. And the ground opens up beneath my feet, and a man steps out to me to lead me down underground, underground.
You are watching Stripped Down, no longer live. We are no longer in the Shaw Spotlight Studios. Aurora Bella, I'm gonna need you to help me focus. I've just got too much swirling around in my mind. Usually I come in here with a game plan. I know my questions, I know my interview format. We're just going tonight. Thank you for letting us suck you into this whatever we've set up tonight.
Is that a Halloween pun, suck you in?
Sure. I'm just going off. There's no plan tonight. So where do we start? Talk about you, talk about pandemic, talk about what it's done to all of our industries. Talk about Halloween, talk about our 12th season. We're officially in Simpsons territory. We just start with the Halloween episode now. I don't know. How has your life as a performer, as an artist, changed since mid-March 2020?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this pandemic's been really crazy. It's changed the entire way the industry works, I think.
I feel like it just tugged the rug out of no matter what happened in the industry, we always had this.
Yeah.
And that's gone now.
Yeah. There's no live. That's it. There's nothing live.
You always had that. And it's so weird to not have that now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really a big change for sure. But in a way, I think it kind of expanded an area of music that maybe hadn't been quite as tapped into. The live online shows, I've been doing live recordings and just putting them up, posting them on various social medias. And it's cool to see how well the feedback on that has been. You wouldn't necessarily expect to have a lot of response, but I think everybody is affected by the fact that there's no live music.
It's affected everything. I'm a freelance camera op by trade. And again, no matter what happened, there was always going to be sports to shoot. There's always going to be concerts to shoot. There's always going to be venues having whatever that would need my abilities. And yeah, that's gone as well.
Yeah.
So is there a sense of rebuilding though within because I'm not a musician,
right.
And this is the first really opportunity I've had to sit and chat with a musician and think and talk about how life for them has actually changed. Because I know everybody shows up on Facebook Live and they're all positive, but I feel a lot of game face. Is there a message of hope and rebuilding within the community right now?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you have to, have that positive mindset, or you just start to collapse. And I think that's true of everyone. It's hard to be stuck at home. It's hard to feel like the thing you love to do isn't available to you. But I feel like, it's at some point it's going to end, and we'll be able to play live again. And hopefully that time is sooner rather than later. But until then, there's all sorts of opportunities for creativity. I've seen what do you call it, where one person uploads a video and then somebody else uploads one with them jamming to the first video.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
and
okay.
sort of online jams, or just there's a really interesting online community of players right now.
Is it hard to be productive and inspired while you're stuck at home? That was kind of what I've always been up against these last few months.
It's definitely been tough.
Yeah.
I admit it's hard to write when there's not.
The four walls aren't really inspiring.
Yeah, exactly. I've always loved writing, outside or where there's people, or about experiences that are happening. And don't get me wrong, there's pandemic is an experience. Everything that's going on is an experience, but it's true that it's harder. Once you've started writing about the pandemic, well, I have a pandemic song. What is there else to write about?
How many pandemic albums are coming out?
Yeah.
Let's circle back to Halloween. Thank you so much for agreeing to do something a little unorthodox here and trust us to come out into the woods and light a fire and play. We did this 11 years ago with the lead singer of the Deep Dark Woods, Ryan Bolt, who's gone and done pretty well for himself and his band. And the show was the show, and the original run was 213 episodes from 2008 until 2014, and we took a hiatus, and then we came back because finally we could go live from the studio, which was always something we wanted to do and never got the opportunity during the first 213 episodes. So we returned in 2018 and we did a season completely live across the board. Did the season for another season completely live, and then we did obviously half a season last year. It abruptly ended in February. And now we wanted to do the shows, but obviously we can't use the studio for social distancing, so we were approached and put our heads together and said, how can we keep the show going? Let's go back to the old ways where we go on location and pre-tape it. It's the journey. And I'm so excited that you're a part of it now, and now you've got your name attached to a stripped down Halloween special, which were always the biggest deals each season across the board.
Cool.
So thank you so much for trusting us to come and be part of the ongoing story.
It's, it's an opportunity to dress up. I'll take any of those.
Absolutely. We'll talk about your unique style of music and what your bio says a little later. And of course, we're going to keep talking about Halloween. And right before we started, I was going to carve season 12 into Mr. Jeepers' forehead. And someone off camera said, hey, why don't you save that for the 13th season? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure we come back for a 13th season, just so I can carve 13 into Mr. Jeeper the Clown's head. Starting the show, what was the first song you played there, the wonderful song that kicked off our 12th season here in the woods?
That was called Persephone. It's written about the Greek goddess Persephone.
Was that a particularly inspiring song for you? Does it have a good backstory, or were you just like,
sure,
I like mythology, here's a song?
I feel like the cool bit about mythology is that it's all these old stories can be so relevant and so true now, and that's part of what I love about that story of it's dark. It's not a happy story exactly of Hades and Persephone and the goddess of spring dragged down to the underworld, but it's appropriate for Halloween in a way, I suppose, in the autumn and the changing of the seasons and how
2020
change is necessary. So yeah.
Awesome. Song number 2, where do we go from there before we take our first commercial break?
Yeah, so this one is called If You Want, and it's a slightly happier song.
Okay.
It's about being in love with somebody and maybe being unsure how to tell them. So
awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Aurora Bella.
Poems are full of fancy words. Sometimes I feel too simple. My speech is blunt and sometimes hurts. I really didn't mean to. I'm slow to compliment. I might be out of touch, but I hope you'll consider it when I say I like you so much. But please don't take my word for granted. I'll show you that I mean all the things I say to you. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm sure you've noticed by now I keep giving you flowers. Just let me hold hands and dance and cuddle in the moonlight. Be the closest friends and lovers after midnight. There's a book I read with a princess on its cover. I can be your prince. You can rescue me forever if you want. Always sound so sweet. Two people kiss and live happily ever after. Wish I could sweep you off your feet, but I know the reality will be a lot more awkward. I'm really oblivious. I don't know how to flirt, but I'm trying to get over it. Maybe you can help me learn, but please don't take my word for granted. I'll show you that I mean all the things I say to you. I'm a hopeless romantic. Let's write a song. I'll be the chord progression. You can be the tune. Just let me hold hands and dance and cuddle in the moonlight, be the closest friends. And lovers after midnight, there's a book I read with a princess on its cover. I can be your prince. You can rescue me forever if you want. Don't take my word for granted. I'll show you that I mean all the things I say to you. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm just working up the courage to even give you a clue. I wanna hold hands and dance and cuddle in the moonlight, be the closest friends. And lovers after midnight, there's a book I read with a princess on its cover. I can be your prince. You can wear that shining armor if you want. That's all I want.
Strip Down would like to thank our sponsors for getting us to our 12th season. The Hairstyle Inn, Red Swan Pizza North, and E-West Music all support local music and make this show possible.
Too many parting words. I wasn't ready to say goodbye. Long distance never works. Well, that's what they say at least, but I'll try. I know that life goes on without you, and that's what I gotta do to make things work. But it all feels just a little harder now without a friend around. Those little pains hurt worse. I miss you. Too many sad regrets. I didn't think I would cry so hard, but you said we wouldn't quit. So when I come back, you'll be there, I'm sure. I know that life goes on without you, and that's what I gotta do to make things work. But I'm tired of just pretending that you're holding me. It's not the same, you see. The silence really hurts. I miss you. I hope you're doing well. I know you're busy. The song can keep me company. I miss you. You're trying, I can tell from how you text me. late at night when I'm asleep. And I know that life goes on without you. And that's what I gotta do to make things work. But I hope that soon you won't be far away. And there can come a day when we can put us first. I miss you.
We are kicking off our 12th season of Stripped Down here in the woods. It's our Halloween episode. Aurora Bella is helping us with this milestone. That was back-to-back amazing songs. All three of your songs have been amazing so far, to be perfectly honest. But that last song we came out of the break with, what was that you just played?
That was called I Miss You. That was a slightly more recent breakup song.
Oh no. Was it pandemic related, the breakup?
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go to happier talk. Before the break, we talked about your, is it a love of Greek mythology? Is love a proper word?
Sure, yeah. Right. Adoration.
Adoration. As a child, I watched Clash of the Titans and it changed my life. I love that movie. I still watch it and it holds up. And I think Medusa might be my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to fill in some blanks of Greek mythology and how it inspires you and how you, I guess, kind of found out about it? Like, how did you get attached to it?
Oh.
To the point where it affected your singing songwriting?
Well, I kind of grew up with it, I think. I mean, when I was little, there was this book in the house of my mom's. There were two, actually. One was Norse mythology and one was Greek mythology. And they were these books with these pictures and these really, it was like fairy tales, but they lightened them up for kids, of course,
Yeah. Put a little happy filter on it.
Yeah, just a little, you know, nothing too dark. But I loved that book to death. I read it a lot. I still have it in my bedroom. Every once in a while I pull it out because that's where I got my first Greek mythology stories from. And yeah, I guess it's kind of always been there. I love fairy tales. There's a song later I have called Cinderella that's about the old Grimm's fairy tale. I love how stories, what stories stay on and how they influence us.
When I was researching you on social media, I saw that you had a love for Greek mythology, and I almost bailed with my Thundercats mummer costume and went to Chiron and had like coins in my eyes the whole night. But then it just got really complicated really quick. I was like, because it's so easy to be confused with the Grim Reaper, and that I would have had to constantly been telling everyone I was actually the ferryman, not. Yeah. Anyways, that's awesome. I'm glad we had that talk about Greek mythology. Definitely the first time we've ever talked Greek mythology on Stripped Down. I also noticed you play a lot at the Black Cat, which is how I actually met you, through a mutual friend, Dylan Evans. And when I saw that you won the award for, was it the spookiest set?
Is that it?
Was that the
yeah.
spookiest set? I was like, there's our Halloween episode. Okay, so spookiest set.
Yeah.
What were you bringing to the table?
I had a few other songs that day, but I love Halloween. It's another set of stories, and I really like dark, interesting tales. So,
what draws you to that?
They feel more real, I guess. I've never, even when I was little, reading the fairy tale books, the cute kids ones, I was a little like, what if this didn't end so well? What if there was more difficulty in the book? What if there was more to overcome, or what if they didn't overcome it? And I was really curious about that. And then getting into Greek mythology, there's a lot of that.
Yes.
There's not many yeah, so I guess Halloween feels like a natural next step.
So have you ever married Greek mythology and Halloween? Have you really stepped up? Because my mind was spinning. I was like, oh, we should, it's so late though in the game. We only had a week to put this together. And like I said, there's pandemic and we have social distancing and just like where are we going to shoot this? And there's so much spinning in my mind. But I was like, maybe I should like be Narcissus and just like stare at myself on the water every time. But then again, I have to explain what I'm doing like every 5 minutes. If someone's just channel surfing, they're not going to get it. But have you ever stepped up and had Halloween and Greek mythology just?
I have not.
No.
For the same reason. Like, how do you explain that? You know, one year I went as this isn't Greek mythology related, but one year I went as Angelina Ballerina from the little kids TV show. Yeah. Nobody knew who I was. I was so disappointed. Everyone was like, "Oh, aren't you a cute mouse?" And I'm like, "No, I'm Angelina Ballerina." So.
I'm so happy someone gets it. I spent 3 months making a Macho Man Randy Savage costume for Halloween. It's like the best thing I've ever done creatively, probably. And I went to the most like popular bar that night, and I'm like, I'm winning the costume contest. Finally, I've waited my whole life for this. I put in like 14 weeks into this costume. Like everybody loves it. I'm gonna win. And I lost in the finals to a sexy Who from Whoville. It was some girl who just was wearing lederhosen and had a bunch of gel in her hair. And I still wake up some nights thinking about that. So I'm glad to see you have the same approach to Halloween as I do. Should we get to song number 4 before we take our second commercial break? When we come back, I really want to get into your past and how you got here and your journey, because it's fantastic, but I want a big block of time to talk about that. So, your second ukulele song, your last ukulele song.
Last ukulele
You're
song.
a very versatile musician as well, because at one point you were almost bringing a keyboard out here.
Yeah, well,
so you're like the
piano was my first
trifecta,
instrument,
guitar,
so,
ukulele, keyboard, anything else?
Yeah, I have a piano at home, so piano was my first instrument, and that's what I grew up learning. And the guitar is only a few years old, and the uke is even more recent.
Wow. Okay, your second ukulele song, your last ukulele song of the night. No, that's fine. I'm all over the place. Like I said, this is probably question-wise one of the worst episodes I'll ever do, but I can't focus. It's just so surreal to be back. Like, was the show done? I didn't know. Could we ever use the studio again? I don't know. You know, like, are we ever going to be in a place where we can cram 5 camera people, you know, shoulder to shoulder? I don't know. So it's just, it feels good. Thank you for being here. Thanks for, you know, who knows? Maybe this will be a 1-episode season. This will be season 12.
That's
I don't know. I just want to hear
everybody.
another ukulele song.
Okay,
I just want to hear another ukulele song. Where are we going? What's the next one?
This one is called Sheep on the Hill, and speaking of stories, it's about a story my dad used to tell me growing up that he wrote.
Well, tell me the story.
Yeah,
give me the Coles notes.
I'll try and sum it up. So the story is there's these 3 sheep, and they live on a hill, and the farmer lives down below in the valley with his house. And the wind blows really strong up on the top of the hill, and the sheep ask the farmer to do something, but he wouldn't do anything. And so the sheep asked the wind. They say, "Hey, wind, would you mind just not blowing on the top of the hill for a day?" And the wind is like, "Yeah, sure." And so he blows in the valley for a day. And the farmer gets so mad about the wind blowing in the valley that he drags his house up to the top of the hill and puts the sheep in the wind again in the valley. And the wind, when he hears that, gets so mad that he goes and blows all around the farmer's house. And the farmer drags his house back down to the bottom of the hill and puts the sheep back on top. Anyway, so I can't even remember if there was an end to the story, but it was a routine thing. Sometimes we'd have other things. So.
And so this song again is?
Sheep on the Hill.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aurora Bella.
Daisies bloom on the hillside where you stood just yesterday, and the breeze blows their petals away. are your friends blown away by the wind? And there in the valley below stands your house, and it's safe and sound and alone. Times change on the hillside where you stood once before, and now the breeze blows at your door. And there on the top of the hill stood your friends, but you pushed them down to the wind. And up from the valley below you drag your house, and it's safe and sound again, safe and sound and alone.
You are watching Strip Down. We're kicking off our 12th season here in the woods with Aurora Bella, helping us celebrate Halloween, going back to our roots for our little local music show, making Halloween a giant deal again. It's been a few years. We sacrificed doing this for the ability to do it live from the studio. And honestly, Aurora, kind of missed this. This is just like, my heart is full tonight. I have a talented singer-songwriter who loves Halloween. We're back doing what we should be doing, making just kind of bonkers television. Let's talk about your life. Started dancing at 3, and that somehow led you to here in Saskatoon in the woods shooting a... it's a few things happened in between though. So
Yeah,
what was your
just a
childhood like? How did you go from like professional dancing at such a young age into music?
Well, professional dancing, I was competitive. It wasn't professional necessarily. But yeah, I love the arts. I love being active. Music was absolutely one of the first things I really fell in love with, along with soccer. Soccer was really cool. There was a while where I really wanted to be like a professional soccer player.
Was that from the influence of a movie?
No, it was
no?
not.
Okay. I completely blanked on the name, but I know there was like that.
Bend It Like Beckham?
Yes!
Yeah. No, I do love the movie, but no, it was before that. I just...
Well, let me cross out all my Bend It Like
around.
Beckham questions. Okay. All right. I could not tell from your bio. Where are you from originally?
Originally, I was born in Iowa City, Iowa.
Okay.
Which is a long way off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really remember living there. I've gone back because some of my family is there, but we moved to Seattle when I was very young, and then up to Saskatoon.
Yeah.
And then
to
when I was 5, yeah, and then then there's more, yeah.
Okay.
And then I moved out to Craik, Saskatchewan for 5 years. And then I went to Salt Spring Island, BC to study music.
Did you win your way in there? Or did you get like a scholarship? How did you end up there?
It was one of the only composition-based music schools we could find for high schoolers. And there was an audition process, yeah. I was super nervous the entire time. I was like, what I'd done so far had been play piano competitions, classical piano competitions, and I'd done some writing, but I definitely hadn't moved into being singer-songwriter at all. I was just starting to experiment with my voice, and so I went to this Gulf Islands School for the Performing Arts, and it was a really incredible experience. There were, all of a sudden I was surrounded by like-minded musicians and all these really wonderful, like, sure, we were in high school, but the skill level of all of the people I saw around me was professional. But yeah, it was really cool, and I decided in the end to go back and help teach the next year after I'd graduated. And it was a really cool experience getting to help people who'd been where I had been and work with them a bit as fellow musicians, but also as to give them what I had learned in the program. And yeah, it was really interesting as an experience. And then 3 years later, after all that, I moved here.
I was going to say, what brought you to Saskatoon, and how's that leg of your journey been? How long do we have you for?
Who knows? You know, my family lives here, and that's definitely a factor. My grandmother and you know, and it's beautiful here. It's there's prairie grasses and too much snow. Yeah, but it's definitely, I've only been here for a year so far. Wow. So I just got back. But I'm
What a good year. You came here and we locked the world down.
Yeah, right. No, but it's actually this has been my first real, I mean, not real year in the music like business, but like it's been my first year that I've been able to go to open mics and
you collaborated with someone?
Yeah, so I actually just released with at the time that this will air, I guess I'll have just released 2 acoustic singles. I Miss You is one of them, and I'm about to release a collaboration with a rapper friend of mine who is amazing. Yep. And I just featured on one of their songs, Ghost Note. They're really great.
You've done a lot in your 1 year here.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities to do a lot, I think.
It's amazing. Thank you for being such an ambassador of Saskatoon. Most musicians can't wait to get out of here, so this is like refreshing. I'm really enjoying tonight. I'm just loving this episode. Thanks to everybody who came out. We made this episode happen during a pandemic, and we're being safe about it, and we have music, and it's back, and you may not be performing for many people, but there are people here you're technically performing. What a time to be alive. Aurora, our next song before our third and final commercial break. You got the guitar back.
Yeah.
What do we have coming up?
This one is called Red MG.
And Red MG is about?
Red MG is about another breakup.
Another breakup, okay.
Different one this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't get 2. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Aurora Bella.
Like a 78 red MG, because even though you seem beautiful to me, I can see you're falling apart inside. You're like the boat on the lake that day, because you always seem to drift away right when everything seems fine. Looking back now, it seems to me that we had a good run, didn't we? I just wish only once you'd been on time. And maybe someday we'll meet again and talk about how the past few years have been, and maybe then everything will be alright. Whoa. But until then, I'll remember when you were more than just a friend. And I know I can't pretend that it was perfect. I just don't want it to end yet. used to play because everything was just a little cliche, but that's kinda what made it fun. You like the book I read last week because I always found you easy to read, and I never wanted the story to be done. And looking back now, I have to say I didn't think that it would be over this way, at least not after just 4 months. And maybe someday we'll meet again, and I'll go back to class where summer ends, and with it goes the sun. I'm on the mend, but I remember when you were more than just a friend. And I know I can't pretend that it was perfect. I just don't want it to end yet. And I always looked up to you, you see, even though you were technically younger than me. And I hope that we can still be friends. I may not have quite let go yet, but I can still pretend. I can still pretend. You like that 78 red MG because you're quite the ride and you're kind of sweet. But it took too long for us to pick up speed, I guess. I just don't want it to end.
Stripped Down would like to thank our title sponsor, Earl Saskatoon, for another season of support. Go check out their newly launched cocktail menu with daily specials, and with it being Halloween, go taste their famous pumpkin pie.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aurora Bella.
Shuffle your feet and take a walk across the street to where you know he'll be waiting. Let him drag you onto the barroom floor so you can dance just a little longer before you run home at midnight. So tell me, Cinderella, why do you believe love can be found under a minute? Kindness and slavery are two different things. If you wanted to run away before the ball, then what took you so long to leave? Tell me, Cinderella, why did you betray the impression of one place for the same by another name? Oh, Cinderella. behind your apron. When he comes by your door, your perfect dream can't remember you anymore. Try on the magic that you left behind. In this happy ending, you're the only one who's fine. So tell me, Cinderella, why do you believe love can be found under a minute? Kindness and slavery are two different things. If you wanted to run away before the ball, then what took you so long to leave? Tell me, Cinderella, why did you trade the impression of one place for the same by another name? Tell me, Cinderella. Oh, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. Why do you believe that love can be found in under a minute? Tell me, Cinderella. Why do you believe love can be found in under a minute? Oh, kindness and slavery are two different things. If you wanted to run away before the ball, then what took you so long? What took you so long? What took you so long to leave?
We are wrapping up the season opener of our 12th season here at Stripped Down. In case you haven't noticed, it is our Halloween episode for 2020, although 2020 itself has been a Halloween episode, but we're officially back for our 12th season. Aurora Bella, wrapping things up really quickly. You got a couple singles that will be out by the time this airs.
Yep.
How can people get their ears on that? And that's not a thing, but I just made it a thing. How can they get their ears on that?
Well, you can get your ears on that on my website. There'll be there's links to that pre-save currently, but when these come out, they'll be on Spotify. I think Apple Music. You can look me up, Aurora Bella. They should come right up. Songs are "I Miss You" and "What I Went Through." On my Instagram, there'll be links, of course. That's Aurora Musician. So, yeah.
I haven't had this much fun doing the show since February. Ah, come on, that's funny, because we got shut down because of COVID. Final thoughts. Leave us with something profound. You have been an amazing guest. You're the exact type of guest that you hope for when we do this show.
Aww.
Great music. Each song was different. Amazing stories. Just thank you so much for being the perfect Halloween guest here.
That's sweet. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed this. It's cool to, be interacting even if it is at a distance.
Right? And if you notice, there's a little more energy here tonight than usual, we're not actually in the woods. We're contained. We're good. I have to give a big shout out to the Armbruster family. This is their property just outside of town, and this has housed many epic Halloween parties over the years, and now of course they can't even do that. So hopefully this is softens the blow a little bit in 2020, because we kind of had our own little Halloween party. So big shout out to Chad, Aaron, Grant, Gio, and Elsa for letting us use their fine facility and making this happen. And it might not look safe, but trust me, there's water everywhere just off camera, and everyone's safe and everyone's still social distancing. Thanks for watching. Last time tonight. Any final thoughts before we bail out of this?
I'm just glad to be here, and I look forward to hearing what everyone has to say about this. Like,
What's
text
your
me.
last song?
This last song is called Numb.
Numb, perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, Aurora Bella, thank you so much.
A stack of storybooks beside the fireplace, but when I look back I see that they've all fallen in. The sense of warmth she left fades with every broken teacup, and the blankets on the sofa are starting to wear thin. And I see she wasn't meant to leave here. She wasn't meant to leave me. Now I'm freezing. Growing up is getting harder each day, and I don't even want to play this game. It's too painful. Oh, it's too cold, and I'm growing numb. It's too cold, and I'm growing up. I still remember when we fell apart and each took our separate paths, and she went back and I went too far forward. And now I realize that she should not be left behind, that childhood makes each day less pain to face and not feel quite so hard. And I see she wasn't meant to leave here. She wasn't meant to leave me. Now it's freezing. Growing up is getting harder each day, and I don't even want to play this game. It's too painful. It's too cold, and I'm growing numb. It's too cold, and I'm growing up. It's too cold, and I'm growing numb. It's too cold, and I'm growing up. I am older now, but wiser I am not so sure. Those scribbles from before suggest she had more to say than me. And now each step I take towards the future seems to say that everything I leave behind is everything I want to keep. And I see I need her to come back here. I need her to come back to me. It's freezing. Growing up is getting harder each day, and though I don't want to play this game, I know I have to now. I can't turn back now. It's too cold, and I'm growing numb. It's too cold, and I'm growing up. It's too cold, and I'm growing numb. It's too cold, but it's warming up.